Deion Sanders says he's sticking around in Boulder. I'm going to talk about why maybe this is a great thing and also why maybe I don't believe him a little bit.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. I am your host, Kevin Borber. Today's episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire could feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege. Terms and conditions apply. Welcome to Locked On Buffs. Like I said, I'm Kevin Borber. We're brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcast. Thank you for making me your first listen. Coach Prime. A lot of people are talking about it. It was kind of a rumor, or not a rumor, but it was a discussion during this last coaching cycle of where's he going to go? Is he going to stay in Boulder? Is he going to go to the Texas A&M job? Is he going to go to whatever job that opens? And I think a lot of people are curious. A lot of people are questioning, is Deion Sanders a permanent resident? Not permanent resident. Obviously, he's a resident of Colorado, but is he going to stay there permanently is what I'm hinting at. Is he going to turn down other jobs if he starts thriving in Boulder? Say a job like, I don't know, Florida becomes open, or a job like Miami comes open. Is he going to turn down those jobs and stay in Boulder, Colorado? I don't know. That's the part where I'm a little interested to see. I think the most interesting part about his future in Colorado is what happens after his sons leave. Does he plan on staying in Boulder? Or will he be more privy to thinking of other jobs, thinking of other opportunities? But he did a recent interview and he's told Savannah Sellers that he plans to stay. He says, I love Boulder, Colorado, and Colorado. I love Boulder, Colorado, and Colorado. Sorry. I'm not chasing finances. I'm not chasing the bag. I'm not chasing notoriety. I'm not chasing hype, which, to be fair, he has all of those things already. So he doesn't really need it. I love what I do, and I do what I love. And I love Boulder, Colorado. I don't plan on being anywhere else in my coaching career. It is my desire to one day retire and just walk off, not walk off. I want to ride off on a white horse with a black hat in the sunset in Boulder, Colorado, winning a championship. Championships, plural. That's what I want to do, Sanders said. End quote. And so what do I think of this? Well, one, obviously, I think he was asked the question, what are his plans? Is he going to be sticking around? So he's answering the question, but he's a calculated guy. He knows what he's saying. He knows that recruits, other programs, other jobs, whatever they may be, are constantly campaigning against him staying in Boulder. If you guys aren't aware, every recruiting process, so if I'm from school A and I'm trying to get a recruit and school B is also trying to get this recruit, well, of course, if I'm school A, I'm going to tell you all the negative things about school B that would make you not want to go there and consider my school instead. And so the dirty recruiting, as it's called, or the down recruiting, if you will, against Deion Sanders is he's not going to be in Boulder. He's going to leave Colorado. That is kind of the consensus that other coaches have come to when it comes to recruiting against him. And we saw that with Winston Watkins Jr. He literally said, I don't think he's going to be in Boulder by the time I get there, which is after next season. So a lot of people are expecting him to leave. A lot of people are expecting him to take a job elsewhere. And one of the jobs that I thought he would be a fit at eventually, if it came open at the right time, was Texas A&M, and it didn't come open at the right time. Florida, Miami, both of those are jobs where I'm like, if those open up, would he turn them down? Now, obviously, they're both rivals of his alma mater, but he's a Florida guy. He's a guy who has all of his ties to the Southeast, and he recruits Florida heavily, and he's recruiting Florida well, and he's doing it to Colorado. So imagine what he would do in the state of Florida. Right now, or not right now, it was a couple days ago, there was a post, and it was like, top receivers or top Florida guys used to never leave the state of Florida. Like, what's happening? And one of the responses that made me laugh, and it's true, is Brian Hartline, the Ohio State wide receivers coach, has just been feasting out of Florida. Julian Fleming, Jeremiah Smith, notable names that are guys that have left Florida to go elsewhere. And that never used to happen. Florida kids used to stay in Florida, or at least the top Florida ones. And then you would go in and kind of get the guys that they overlooked. But now Alabama recruits Florida. Georgia recruits Florida. On top of the four powers in Florida, you got Florida, Florida State, Miami, UCF, and then also Ohio State, Texas also get in the mix of into the Florida sweepstakes. So if Coach Prime was in Florida, I think he would be unstoppable recruiting wise, at least in the state. But he says he's happy in Boulder. He says he likes it here. Like he says, he's not chasing anything, which if that's true, then Boulder has everything that he could want and need because he will basically be able to do whatever he wants. There will be no pushback from um, the boosters. There will be no pushback from the AD. They love what he's doing. They love his process. They love the attention he brings. I saw the other day that he boosted the Boulder economy by I think it was like hundreds of millions of dollars this year. So why would they want to tamper with that? I think if and when he starts having success on the field in terms of wins and losses, which I imagine will be next year, I wouldn't be surprised if Colorado offers him a lifetime contract. I really wouldn't. And I think it's kind of like a perfect marriage. It's just a matter of you have to keep him happy and you have to keep him engaged with Colorado at all times. And when his sons leave for the NFL, I think it'll be really interesting to see where I don't think it's not where his loyalty lies, but where his interest lies. Is he still going to be wanting to coach? Is he still going to want to coach at Colorado? But according to him, and in an interview done in December of 2024 or 2023, which obviously there's quite a few days until the 2025 NFL draft. We'll see. I think he's saying all the right things. I think it helps with recruiting. I think it's true. Every coach plans on staying at their current job until another job comes knocking, and that job's just a job they can't refuse. And I'm not saying that Colorado can't compete with all these other places in terms of what they can offer, um, in terms of how happy they make him. But again, no coach plans on leaving their job until they do. And I'm not saying that I think he's going to leave. I'm just saying I do think it'll be interesting to see what his mindset is following the departure of Shadur and Shiloh. Obviously, his daughter's on the basketball team, and like he said, his mother moved out there, his family moved out there to Boulder. But it's just one of those things where it's like I will believe it when I see it. I do think it's the perfect thing to say, and I trust him right now. I really do. I think right now he's excited, and I think he's happy about what he's building in Colorado. But until everything unfolds, we got to wait and see. And I think that's okay to. I think it's okay to believe him now, but kind of be like, okay, what's going to happen in the future? It's not doubting him. It's just being aware of that things could change. That's just life. That's how life works. Things always change before you even know it. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to have as many top tier candidates as possible to interview. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. I personally got my first job out of college on LinkedIn. I found jobs that applied to my skill set. I found jobs where I was like, oh, okay, I think I could be a fit there. Applied, talked to the hiring manager, bada bing, bada boom, I was working. LinkedIn isn't just another job board either. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, what makes it the best place to hire. Which is what makes it the best place to hire. Hiring is so easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows the small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, the process is intuitive, quick, and easy. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even quicker, and easier. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. It's your team every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Thank you for making me your first listen. We're talking about the offensive line haul because I see a lot of people coming into the comment sections all bold now saying that I said he couldn't build an offensive line through the portal and all this, all that. And partially that is true. I didn't say that he couldn't because obviously he did last year for the most part. He can build one through the portal. Whether it's going to be successful or not, you got to wait and see. But I can tell you right now that he's not done in the portal. I can tell you right now that his offensive line is not complete. If you look at who they brought in from the transfer portal. Obviously, Justin Mayers is currently the headliner, the UTEP transfer, just because he is graded as one of the top, I think it was 20 or top 15 highest graded linemen at his position in the country. So that's a plus. But I'm looking, and so I see Colorado right now, and it's all guys who are guards. And you're like, why does that matter? Why does that matter? Oh, well, you need tackles. Colorado was suffering most of their pressure from the tackle positions, which is kind of hard to fathom when you got such great size, but size doesn't always matter. So Tyler Johnson, interior offensive lineman, played left guard. Let's see who else. Excuse me. Yakiri Walker, he's a center. Then you go to, again, another guard, Justin Mayers, guard. So they have their guard positions ironed up, buttoned up, and that's great. But what are they going to do with the tackles? That's my biggest concern. That's where they suffered a lot of the pressure. So they also they lost Van Wells, Khalil Benson, another guard from Indiana. So they brought in 4 offensive linemen. All 4 are interior offensive linemen. There's, if my math is correct, there's only 3 interior offensive line positions. So somebody's already left out. You have Jordan Seaton, who is a 5-star left tackle. Do you want a freshman playing left tackle right away? Depends on the freshman. If Jordan Seaton comes in and dominates and is balling, put him at left tackle. We've seen guys thrive at a young age at the tackle positions. But again, you still have the right tackle. And a lot of people are going to say Savion Washington. Well, these are all the people that gave up sacks last year. Gerard Christian Layton gave up 6 sacks at left tackle, 8 hits, allowed 26 hurries. Also had 5 penalties. He is no longer in the picture. So their left tackle spot is open. Let's just assume that Jordan Seaton is the left tackle. Well, then you go over to the right tackle. Savion Washington gave up 3 sacks, which was 3rd on the team. Gave up 3 quarterback hits, which was 2nd on the team. Gave up 14 hurries, which was 3rd on the team. And then he also had 7 penalties, which was 2nd on the team, only trailing Jack Bailey, who was a guard, who probably will not be starting. So you have a lot of guards, not a lot of tackles. Tyler Brown is also a guard. So again, you have 5 guards, 3 spots, or 2 spots, because obviously Yakiri Walker's the center. Now, obviously they can move someone else to center if they wanted to, but basically you have 5 guys vying for 2 spots. Are they going to try to move someone to tackle? Tyler Johnson was a tackle coming out of high school. Does he move to right tackle? Does he move to left tackle? And Jordan Seaton goes right tackle. That's something to look out for. But again, a lot of people are coming in the comments saying, you said that you can't build an offense line through the portal. I never said that. I said you could get guys from the portal that will play on your offense line. Whether or not they will be good, the trends show us they won't. Last year, the top 10-ish, top 15-ish offense linemen, there weren't that many quality starters. In fact, I believe the number was around 2 or 3 of the top 15 were quality starters. The rest either were not good or weren't starters. So it's not easy to just plug and play offense linemen. Now, obviously, Coach Prime is not bringing in these guys as grad transfers or experienced transfers to come sit, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be good. So I think this offensive line, because I think a lot of you guys are going to jump on me now, this offense line is already better than what they had last year. It is what it is. With Seaton, Johnson, Mayers, Tyler Brown, I think will be a good candidate. Khalil Benson, another guy. I think these guys have potential. I think this line is already better than what Colorado fielded. Now, is it going to be good enough to get them where they need to be? Honestly, they just need an average offensive line. All these guys, I believe between all the 4 transfers that they brought in, they gave up like a combined 4 or 5 sacks this past year, which is great. Because obviously Colorado gave up around 56, I believe is the number. So anything is an upgrade over that. But playing together, they need some continuity. I was told that doesn't matter all year last year. Oh, it doesn't matter that their offense line hasn't played together. It does. Look at Colorado's offense line. They were terrible. They had no continuity. They had literally never seemed like they knew what was happening. So this group, more experienced, more proven. I think it's a better group, but only time will tell if building a portal or building a line solely through the portal is the right move. I like where Coach Prime's head is at with this group. I think they're obviously prioritizing the offense line this time around, which as they should and as he said he would. But again, you got to make sure that you got the right guys in there. Otherwise, I don't say it would be a repeat of last year because I don't think it'd get any worse. But it could struggle. They could struggle again last year. So we'll just wait and see. I like where the line is headed. I'm just saying, do not put all your chips in this one basket. I think they need to recruit the position better. I would feel much more confident if Coach Prime went out and flipped a couple offensive linemen like he's been working on. It's just one of those things where you can't solely even if this offense line is good, that's great for the 2024 season. But what happens in 2025? Like you need to recruit and develop the position. You can't just go into the portal every single year and just hope that you're going to find starting caliber linemen at 4 positions, at 5 positions, whatever it may be. Like that's just not practical in my eyes. I just don't think it is. And so I think he needs to continue to push hard in the recruiting ranks. Let me preface this. Let me say this again for the 4th or 5th time. I like what he's doing. I would like to see him recruit better, and I don't want to say that this line's just going to be all that in a bag of chips until I see them play, because obviously we won't know until they play. But they have a good foundation. They have a lot of starts under their belts. I think it's like 76 starts between the 4 of them under their belts at the FBS level. That's great. A lot better than where Colorado was a year ago. Now let's see how it translates. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at FanDuel. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than right now. The app is so easy to use. Literally, there's a wide range of betting options that include spread, player props, over-unders, and more. So if you want to get in on the fun, visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel is the official partner of the NFL. Welcome back. We are talking about the transfer portal. Now, obviously, I still think, and I believe my number was 5 to 7. They're at 4. So I need 1 or 2 more offensive linemen for Colorado in the portal. I just do. I think that this unit is kind of a work in progress and will continue to be a work in progress. And I don't think it hurts to have more depth. Obviously, you never plan on bringing in guys that aren't good. Same thing happened last year. I don't think Coach Prime and Sean Lewis and Bill Boyle were like, you know what? This guy right here, he's not good, but he can play for us. Like, I don't think that's the plan. I think you bring in guys that you think have potential, and then you have to mold them and sculpt them into what they need to be. Obviously, Colorado wasn't able to do that, but I still would like to see them bring in a couple more offense linemen. The defense line. One of my biggest takeaways from the first couple episodes of the Coach Prime doc was that Bishop Thomas was supposed to be like the guy in the trenches, and I don't think he was. Like I think it was one of those things where you just look at their interior defense linemen, and they were not what they needed to be. They weren't able to generate a lot of pressure. I'm pulling up their grades over on PFF right now. And I just feel like it's kind of one of those things where you want to have a dominant force in there, and they didn't. This Shane Cokes was their highest graded defensive tackle. He ranked 526th out of all the defensive tackles that played. Let's see. Bishop Thomas he didn't even meet the snap requirement to be graded or ranked, but he comes in at around 570. Well, Leonard Payne was 578th with a 63.5 grade, and Bishop Thomas had a 56.1 grade. So I would say Bishop's somewhere in the 600s and 700s, and then Chaz Wallace is down there at 820th. I think they need more interior defenders. They need more beef. Where's the beef, as they say? Where's the beef? Eat more. They need some more bodies up front. They need some big guys. Obviously, that's one of the positions that they've prioritized in recruiting. Because if you look at the recruiting class, they brought in so far, you have Brandon Davis Swain, who's 6'3", 263, needs some size on him though. Again, we need beef out there. We need some 310s, some 320s. Omar White out of Georgia, 6'3", 307. I like that out of Omar. Eric Brantley, another guy out of Georgia, 6'2", 250. That ain't going to cut it. We need to get bigger, get stronger. Obviously, that's what the offseason is for. I think they need some more defensive line help. I really do. Obviously, there's not going to be a lot of, you're not going to get a lot of Bear Alexanders to come into the portal. And if you do, chances are that they come to Colorado. It depends on the day. Obviously, Bear Alexander, his transfer to USC was very much NIL influenced from what I was told. Colorado's still working on getting their NIL stuff up. So, again, there's room for improvement in the defense line. By the way, I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Buffs your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. But yeah, I need some defense line help. I think part of their biggest issue on defense was their inability to stop the run. And that starts up front. If you don't have guys that could clog rushing lanes, then you're not stopping the run. And let me tell you, the Big 12 while they are often known for not having defenses and stuff like that, the Big 12 can play defense, and there's going to be a lot of teams that run the ball. We saw Arizona was good at running the ball. Utah is always good at running the ball. Kansas State, really good at running the ball. Who else is out there? TCU had good running backs. They torched Colorado, and they weren't even that good of a team. So you got to bolster the defensive line. You got to. Realistically, I would like a portal receiver. This is getting a little greedy. Obviously, they brought in Chemon Metier, tight end out of Cincinnati. He is a baller. I think they needed some more help at tight end. Wouldn't surprise me if they get another one. Terrell Timmons from NC State. I think he's a good option. I think he's someone who's a good rotational piece. I don't think he's going to come in. We're looking for someone to replace Xavier Weaver. Like let's put some respect on what Xavier Weaver brought to this team. Terrell Timmons has 11 catches for 195 yards, and his biggest game was 3 catches for 71 yards. Obviously, NC State doesn't have the quarterback play that Colorado does, but I'm looking at Jeremy Macklin's little cousin from North Texas, because he was a dog this year. Obviously, there's a lot of guys after him. His name's Jamori Macklin. He kind of is, I don't want to say the hottest receiver commodity, but he's kind of one of those guys where a lot of programs are after him because they know that they're not going to get Juice Wells. They know they're not going to get Deion Burks, who just committed to Oklahoma prior to me recording this. So this guy over at North Texas had 57 catches, 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, 17.6 yards per catch, 5'11", 183. Not the biggest guy, but he had a huge season. Biggest career. First 2 years combined, he had 17 catches for 385 yards and 2 scores. All of a sudden, gets a bigger role, takes it and runs with it. And I think that's what they need to kind of bolster their wide receiver corps. Another position, maybe an unpopular opinion. I would like a transfer portal running back to come in, provide some depth, come in, kind of be that guy. Is Alton McCaskill going to be that guy? I feel like he could be, but he was shut down due to injury. So we haven't really seen Alton McCaskill at full strength. Now, granted, that's the offensive line's fault, coaching's fault, play calling fault. So we didn't really get to see Alton McCaskill in his full powers, So I'd like to see him. I think he needs some compliments, though. I think Dylan Edwards is a good back, and I think he also has some room to. I think he has some room for growth and stuff like that as well, but it doesn't hurt to have another one. Backup quarterback with experience. Ryan Staub did well, but maybe you could find a guy like every year in the transfer portal. There's a quarterback who's played some ball, like Bo Allen, for instance, just transferred from Georgia State to Kentucky, or Georgia. I think it was Georgia Southern, one of the Georgia schools. Let me look it up. I don't want you guys to rat or come after me. Georgia Southern. So Bo Allen starts his career at Kentucky, transfers to Georgia Southern, gets some playing time under his belt, transfers back to Kentucky. I think Colorado could benefit from a guy like that who obviously Kentucky just brought in Brock Vandergrift, the former 5-star from Georgia. He's probably going to start. So Bo Allen is going into this knowing he's going to have an opportunity to compete, but he knows that he's probably not going to be the starter, but he's there if they need him. I think Colorado should try to find a guy like that. I think that could pay dividends because obviously if Shedeur Sanders goes down with an injury again, you want to have some backup. You don't want the season to fall apart because Shedeur Sanders goes down. Like obviously Shedeur Sanders is hard to replace, but you want someone who's competent, and Ryan Staub was more than competent in his lone performance, but experience always weighs out. So if there's a guy with more experience and playing time under his belt, unfortunately, they're probably going to go with him. So defense line, wide receiver weapon, running back, backup quarterback. Those are my priorities. I think linebacker wouldn't hurt either. I wasn't impressed with the linebacker group at all. And so Colorado still has a lot of room for growth in the transfer portal, a lot of room for improvement. And I think that Coach Prime I think he's just getting started. Right now, their transfer portal class ranks number 1 in the country. They have 6 commits. They rank at, just a second. Their average is 88.50, which is higher than pretty much everybody's outside of Notre Dame and Kentucky, and Minnesota also has a really good class. So they're going to add to their class. They're going to continue to bolster it. And I feel like Colorado has a lot of room for growth because they're stepping into the Big 12. Playoff berths are automatic to the conference champion. So it's one of those things where you kind of really think that Colorado could compete next year. If they just improve at certain positions. And I'm really confident what they can do in the portal. I think there's a few more flips expected in the recruiting ranks. So I'm excited to keep you guys covered like I do every single day over here at Locked on Bus. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and making me your first listen. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. We're right around 4,000 subscribers, which I really appreciate the quick growth that we've had in the few months that the show's been on. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.